I hate fake humility.
The idea of like somebody being good for the cause or the resistance or whatever. First of all, that's meaningless. The fucking, you know, you got to go back and look at all that Norm MacDonald shit. You know that interview Norm MacDonald did where he was like, oh yeah, everybody thought Hitler was hilarious prior to him running to power, you know, or like getting into power. There was comics about him and everyone thought he was a big joke. And then he did the Holocaust. So there goes your notion of comedy being powerful.
That's like, the one where he's like,
Norm rules.
If you tell me one,
right.
if you tell me one socially relevant joke that's funny, I'll give you $1 million.
Norm fucking rocks.
They're like, what about all this identity-based comedy, like Aziz and Amy Schumer? He's like, yeah, everyone expects comedians to be modern-day philosophers, which I think is really insulting to modern-day philosophers.
People go to school, study philosophy.
He's like, you're not a philosopher because you try to fuck waitresses.
I know, man. Norm fucking rocks.
He's the best.
Have you seen the new special? I haven't finished all of it.
I haven't seen it, but I heard it's good.
It was good.
And they dropped retard like 4 or 5 times in the article.
That was, by the way, that was the funniest part of Norm MacDonald getting in trouble for whatever.
Is in the apology.
In the apology, you'd have to be someone with Down syndrome not to feel sorry for victims.
Real bad sexual abuse.
I do too.
Rape, everything.
Yes.
And they go through.
It
destroys their life. They're never the same. Their whole bodies shake at the thought of it. Some of them even black out when they think about this thing. It's horrible. So
I know that. And of course, you know, you'd have to have Down syndrome.
Not to know that.
My new word.
Down syndrome. Right. That's a good word.
You'd have to have Down syndrome to not feel sorry for, you know, of course I have. Me too is what you want for your daughters. You know what I mean? And
he is our guy.
He's a champion.
He is our guy.
He's a fucking champion.
He's the best stand-up in the world.
Once the smoke clears from all of this shit and it's okay to rape girls again, they should build a statue for Norm MacDonald.
Well, he didn't rape anyone.
I know he didn't rape anyone, but
he's actually like you. He's like anti-horny.
Of course, but he's like that.
Nah, he's horny. He's just ashamed of it, like Nick.
No, to do that in apology is masterful.
It really is.
Yeah.
Because he knows exactly.
He knows what he's doing.
I think he's kind of removed enough from society. I had a long conversation with my friend Max about this, but yeah.
Well, if you had a conversation with Max.
We don't have to talk about it.
I didn't realize Max already said
Max weighed in.
Yeah, we can talk to Max about it. We bring Max on the pod.
This motherfucker said like he literally talked to Norm. Like,
no. We already had a long time.
No, we talked about it.
Me and my landlord already figured this out.
Me and my landlord. No, his mom is my landlord.
Anyway, well, at least you guys got to the bottom of it.
No, we randomly talked about it for 40 minutes, and he's like, "Oh, that's so calculated." Like Norm knows that that's going to piss people off, and his fans are going to think it's hilarious, But
it did piss people off, and his fans
did think it was hilarious.
Vis-a-vis me,
and
Stavros.
He's the best.
Hilarious.
Yeah,
he's the best.
To throw that in his apology.
That's my new word, Down syndrome.
That's my new word. I'm gonna start using that.
What an apology! Unbelievable.
And then he had a third apology.
Did he?
I think he fucked up again.
That rules.
Yeah, he should just see how much he could fuck up, because who gives a shit, right?
Well, part of the interview, the first interview, made me think that maybe he wasn't doing bits and he is kind of removed from society. Like when he said that he doesn't know racism, he didn't know racism existed until he saw the new Sacha Baron Cohen show.
I love Norm, but I also do
okay.
think he is out of touch as hell.
Yeah, I mean, he's in comedy clubs 250 nights a year. He's like constantly, like or gambling.
Also, the thing about Norm MacDonald, like I read his book, and even though it's like a fictionalized thing, it's like that motherfucker like grew up in a farm in like in rural ass Canada.
Yeah.
Like his life is close. His childhood is close to like the Great Depression than like living in modern society.
Well, I think some of that was like hammed up for.
I know it was, but still, I mean, I don't think it's literal, but he did grow up in like
his book
rural
so
Canada in like
good.
the what 40s, 50s. Like how old is he?
I don't know.
What if it comes out to
no, later than that.
Norm MacDonald is threatening Seth Simons on the...
What does he say?
So Seth Simons goes, same energy, and he posted a picture of the Joker and Donald Trump, which is like...
Oh my God.
You fucking loser.
And fucking Norm MacDonald wrote, hey, you fucking piece of shit. It's you that's the Joker, a failed stand-up that kills someone who got a TV show. I cannot wait to meet you, and I will.
Damn, dude.
Yeah. That's so sick.
That is awesome. Norm's just like, fuck you, bitch. Fuck.
Is it really my fault? 'Cause you try to hit me with your pity till I can't trust, but I still push on. Got me changing my ways, trying to fix it.
I'm still figuring out what's going on. I'm looking at Ashley
Is that
Judd and I can't help
Mark
it.
Norm MacDonald?
No.
No.
That could be a new character.
No, it can't. They're too similar.
Yeah, there's not
they
enough.
really sound similar.
Come on, Adam.
They
you know
don't
the
sound
formula.
similar. They fucking
Their jokes.
they're both comedians.
They're both observational.
Yeah.
comics.
Well, how would you even do that? Try that out for a spin, Adam.
I just do like a Norm joke, and then I'd say "kidding." Or
Kidding. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. Okay, you're right.
All right, I don't know.
It's not good, but
It's not good,
but it's
it
functional.
works. Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Thank you.
I'll give you that, and also give you 5 3/4 of something else.
This Easter Sunday, here, you want to read this one time?
Yeah.
This seems like more of a your kind of joke. You can do it in the camera if you want, whatever you want to do.
This Easter Sunday, Snoop Dogg gets to say, Christ is risen.
There you go. Adam Egan.
Warning to the Easter Bunny, don't put all your eggs in one basket, fella. You handpick these. We wear new clothes on Easter to represent Christ's triumphant appearance to the stunned apostles in his sharp 2-button blazer by Hugo Boss. What the fuck?
I don't know about that one. In the coffee shop line today, I hear the guy behind me say, I like to start by biting the ears off, and I had to pray, please, God, let him be talking about a chocolate Easter bunny.
I'm just wondering you're always worried. What are you working on right now?
I am just finishing a project. This is one of the biggest projects I have ever done. It's
Really?
amazing. It's a spectacular film.
What kind? Is it a drama? A comedy, probably?
No, it's an adventure. It's action, science fiction.
Wow.
It's amazing.
This is a big budget movie?
Huge budget. I can't even quote the price.
What? Who's directing it?
It's the guy with the glasses. He sits in the front of the Lakers games. Spike
That's
Jones.
Spike Lee.
Spike Lee. That's it. And there's some comedy, so it's co-directed by Woody Allen. They brought him in to co-direct the comedy scenes. Bruce Willis tries to save us, but if you
Isn't there a lot of African Americans as in a Spike Lee movie?
There's plenty of them.
Yeah.
But what we try to do is these are not the ones that don't speak English.
Yeah.
So they CGI them in.
The black people.
Yeah. Well, we got Steve McQueen in
There's
the
a director, Steve McQueen?
Yes.
There's 3 directors involved. You're in a Bruce Willis vehicle where you're playing the Bruce Willis role as Woody Allen?
No, I don't try to do it. Woody Allen is directing the undead who are trying to crash into Earth.
Now,
And then I get in a fight with Sylvester Stallone, of all people. Anyway, the Stallone brothers challenge me.
Shut-ins?
We're going to get DVDs.
The Stallone brothers? Frank
Stallone.
Frank Stallone's in this movie.
Well, why would that surprise you? I'm beginning to think that this is not even true.
It sounds a little outlandish.
April Fools. I missed the April Fools show you did. So
we never.
We should go our separate ways, but now you're back.
This is what you never hear. He made love to me in the ass.
That is true. You never hear that. God.
We're building to the end of the show. You got to top that one, though.
This was Colin Ferguson's first week in prison. Ferguson has reportedly dismissed his cellmate, and from now on, he will be acting as his own bitch. In Carlsbad, Texas, a tanker truck crashed into a prison bus, injuring 16 inmates. Doctors say it will be at least 2 weeks before the men are up and around and raping each other again. At the Davis County Jail in Utah, a judge has ordered that 17-year-old Wes Howard be placed in the general prison population after he complained of being unfairly segregated from the adult inmates. The judge came to this decision over the strenuous objection of Wes Howard's ass. Across the nation this Monday, banks and government offices will be closed in observance of Martin Luther King's birthday. Meanwhile, at the Riverbend Maximum Security Prison in Nashville, Dr. King's assassin, James Earl Ray, will spend the day being raped continuously. He's a bad guy, by the way, James Earl Ray, if you don't know that. Last week, a jailbreak at the Adams County Prison in Pennsylvania ended with 4 inmates escaping in their underwear. Officials are surprised the escape worked, especially because during the break, the scantily clad prisoners frequently stopped to rape each other. It was revealed this week that mass murderer Richard Speck, while serving a life term in prison, was videotaped with hormone-induced breasts, snorting cocaine, and having sex with a man. The film was apparently made with prison video equipment and a $300,000 grant from the National Endowment for the Arts. Jonathan Schmitz, the Jenny Jones guest who killed his secret gay admirer because of his fear and hatred of homosexuality, has been sentenced to 25 years in prison. Well, I guess that plan backfired, huh? This week, the California Department of Corrections confirmed that Lyle Menendez and model Anna Erickson were married in prison. Following the ceremony, Menendez spent a romantic wedding night being raped by 2 white guys and a big black guy. In South Dakota, inmates at the state penitentiary say that a new policy which allows officials to read their mail is an example of the routine violations of individual rights in prison. A better example would be the daily anal rapes, but I guess they want to start off small and then work up to the daily anal rapes. You know, they'll start off with the reading their mail, you know. And in Oklahoma, prison officials are considering an interactive video system for parole board hearings, which would eliminate the need for inmates to travel to hearings from prison. Inmates say they will go along with the video idea, but they will not rule out raping the camera guy. In New Zealand, a convicted swindler who weighs 670 pounds has been sentenced to house arrest because he is too big for prison. According to prison officials, it took 4 inmates just to rape him. Good man. A female prostitute who was mistaken for a man spent 15 hours in the men's jail in Denver, where she had consensual sex with 2 male prisoners, making that the first time anyone at any time in any prison ever has ever had consensual sex. And finally, Amy Fisher charged this week that while in prison, she was raped by a guard. The guard, one Joseph Botafuco, has been reassigned to the prison auto body shop. So apparently that's the one we're in.
Point is that Andy Dick was actually kicked off a porno award show for being too offensive.
Well, they're giving away, awards for best anal.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. So what could you have possibly done that was more offensive?
Wait. Are you saying anal is somehow offensive?
No, to some not to me.
I know, no kidding.
I think I was being drunk and disorderly.
One thing I do realize about gay guys is One of them gets gypped, you know, and there's two gay guys. That's for goddamn sure. One of those guys is having a grand old time, you know? The other guy, man, he got the wrong end of the thing. I don't know how they figure it out, man, but one guy gets to use his cock. It's a huge advantage in a relationship. You get to use your cock. You know? One guy's, hey, I'll tell you what, man, I'll use my cock. How about you use the inside of your ass? The guy's like, I'm not sure that's fair, man. Are you sure this will be as fun for each of us here? Because I'll tell you, man, a guy's cock, it likes everything, you know? Really, when you come down to it, you could fuck a chocolate cake, you know? It'd be all right. Hey, it's my companion. It's a chocolate cake. I fuck it, you know? I fuck it. Yeah, we have a lot of fun in the chocolate. You know, because the cock is a thing, just gets along with everybody. Easy going. Hey, man, I'm a happy-go-lucky guy. But the inside of your ass, completely different. You know? Very picky, very, kind of a loner, you know? Kind of just, I'm all right over here.
People magazine, Johnny Depp, sexiest man alive, huh? Hey, listen, I don't care what you think of this guy. He's a hunk. You know that. I know that.
Yeah, sure. We can say that.
Let's not kid ourselves. Now, apparently he's taking advantage of this sex. Do I need this anymore?
No, you've established. It's real. People know about it.
Yeah. So he's a... Look at that guy, man. Good Lord, I'd like to... Whatever. But I'll tell you this about the new movie he's doing, Pirates of the Caribbean 3. He'll be doing full frontal nudity.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's rated R.
Oh my God! What the hell was that?
Is it really my fault? 'Cause you try to hit me with your pity till I can't trust, but I still push on. Got me changing my ways, trying to fix it.
Stars, it was good to see those workaholic guys, because I personally am a workaholic. For many years, I was helplessly addicted to workahol. The Roastmaster General, Jeff Ross, joins us.
Hi,
Yes.
Jeff.
Welcome.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, you got the first
Hello, world.
Yeah.
Norm, this is so fun. Thank you for having me on your live podcast.
It's always fun to see you without a giant cloud of marijuana smoke between us.
Well, it's outdoors. It drifted away.
Yeah, how you doing, buddy? You got your hair cut a little.
I had a little trim. I was at the doggy groomer for 2 hours today.
Now, I have a question, Jeff. You usually show up wearing something very exotic.
Yeah.
Why the denim today?
I'm dressed like Billy Jack.
Yeah.
You look sharp.
Great.
I like it.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to up my game for the live YouTube show.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you're a hot fucking piece of ass.
Look at that. I do all my shopping at the mall. Have you ever been to Forever 41?
Forever 41?
Norm, you're dressing like you're going to help somebody move. You're wearing sweatpants to the biggest show in YouTube history.
This is the biggest show on the internet.
You're dressed like you're going to paint the set.
He can't help himself. I got to ask you this, though. Hey, I saw, by the way, on the computer, a show you do now called Morning Roast. Unbelievable. You wake up in the morning, you turn on your computer, there's Jeff Ross waking up himself, roasting somebody. How's that work?
Well, whatever comes to my hungover head, I just start making fun of, and I put it up on my YouTube page.
God damn, it's funny.
Who should I roast this week?
What about Cassim?
Yeah, it would be an honor if you could just do me.
He's an Arab, if that helps.
I only roast celebrities, Cassim, so you're off the hook.
Thank you.
What do you dress like? You're like Harry Potter's accountant.
You just not that up.
Well, I want to thank Jeff Ross for turning the mirror on me today. Back to you guys over there.
Like the inventor of a cure of some disease we haven't thought of yet. Look at you, like Orville Redenbacher's fluffer. I don't know. This is fun.
Good. Thank you.
Of course, Bob Saget directed Norm Macdonald's movie Dirty Work. Yeah. A move that transformed Norm Macdonald into a star, Buck's employee.
Did you say something after Star?
Norm Macdonald's so stoned he thinks he's at a roast for Bob Seger. I love you, Norm. Wow, you never come out, Norm. You're like the J.D. Salinger of dick jokes. What's the over-under tonight? What's going to happen, Norm?
No, I wanted to read something funny, so I'm reading Marmaduke.
Oh, my God. This is what happens when you book a dais off Craigslist.
Saget roast where he was told not to work blue, and so he was told to tone it down, and then he went the completely other way. Is that what happened?
I had not heard that he was told to turn it down.
Right.
I thought he made.
You told to turn it up?
I thought he made the choice to go so soft that was the joke. Because Saget's roast was one of the few roasts where it was mostly comics, mostly body comics, and at that point, Saget was really digging into that stuff.
Right.
The Aristocrats movie had just come out. Bob was having this resurgence as Dirty Daddy, and really a contrast from his Full House persona. And we were all went in really deep. And I purposely wrote my speech without one curse word, just to make a point that you didn't have to be funny to be dirty.
Right.
And that was my spin on it. Norm took it one step further and did Farmer's Almanac type jokes. That were, like, hey, Cloris Leachman, people say you're over the hill, but don't listen to them. You'll never be over the hill. Not with that car you drive. And we looked at him like, is he having a stroke? But I already knew Norm will always go for the best joke, the way he would on SNL, the way he would on late night shows. Publicists be damned, he wanted to have the most provocative joke that the comics would talk about the next day. But on this show, he did a conceptual piece to throw softballs around the dais in an affectionate sort of way. And you can see when you listen back, the first few jokes, people are kind of polite laughs, nervous laughs. I'm a producer. I'm almost panicking.
Right, yes.
Like what, is he tanking this on purpose? We already had Artie Lang not show up. We don't want this to be a disaster. But about 5 jokes in, I can start giggling. I start to sense that something's happening. And they buy it. The audience, by the end, they're roaring as if he was Andrew Dice Clay, but doing these very soft jokes. And I think it was a nice denouement, or a nice chapter from his post-SNL where he was provocative and pushed the envelope, especially with his OJ jokes.
When did you first meet him, Norm Macdonald? Jeffrey?
Oh, man. I met him. It was probably 90 or 91. I was just transitioning from open micer in New Jersey to opening MC act in comedy clubs.
Mm-hmm.
And, man, Rich, I was excited. Catch a Rising Star Princeton. There's like 8 shows over 5 days or something.
Mm-hmm.
I was really going to, get some stage time. And Rich Voss, a very funny guy, was the middle act. None of us knew each other. And Norm Macdonald flew in from Toronto. He had just done a bunch of, was it Sajax or something, who had the late night show? Or was it...
yeah, he did for a while. He did. Yeah.
I think it was Sajax. And he hit on that show and became like, he was popping. But no one in America really knew him.
Right.
And Norm this is 91, that type. This is when America, especially in New Jersey, most people wanted to see Andrew Dice Clay in an arena doing nursery rhymes. Now Norm comes in with this button-down shirt, the blazer, and like you couldn't barely understand him. And his material was tight, and callbacks and crafted and honed and economical use of the language. Like, it was fascinating for a comedian. But if you were just a couple of knuckleheads with your dates to catch Princeton, you're used to seeing hickory dickory dock.
Yes. Yes.
He didn't bomb. He didn't hit all the time. He bombed probably 3 out of the 8 shows. And this is one of the craziest things, and I've never seen it before, Rich. After the shows, as people were paying their checks, Norm would go to the exit and greet every single customer as they left.
Come on.
The more he bombed, the longer he stayed there. And it was so hilarious, and it made him a mystery to me, an enigma to me right away, why he loved that part of it. And if he killed, he'd go right out the back to the green room and break out a deck of cards, and we'd play poker. He'd love to play poker. So my first experiences with him were very, very all in, we should say.
So he'd invite me over to SNL once in a while to play poker on off nights, on Monday nights or something. And to watch him play poker while watching Monday Night Football and a baseball game, like he was a gambler.
Right.
And I guess somehow one time I found myself on a tape night on a live SNL. I'm in the hallway. I believe Rosie O'Donnell was hosting SNL, and her very best friend, Penny Marshall, was there to support her. Penny Marshall, at the height of her movie director swag, is walking through the hallway with her head down, sunglasses on, baseball hat, doesn't want to be bothered, treating all these basically writers and NBC employees and me and Norm as big-timing us, pretending we're just looky-loos out on the street, right? Just doing a celebrity don't bother me moment. Flyby, thank you. And Norm picks up on it, and he just starts pointing and screaming, Laverne! 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 And she didn't look up. She never knew it was Norm. She's just gone.
Oh, my gosh.
Flew with him randomly, twice. Just randomly.
Just like
right
happened to be in the plane?
Totally.
Really?
Total dumb luck.
Crazy.
On 2 separate occasions, Norm sat right next to me. And he was like, I can't believe this is happening again.
What a treat.
Yeah, it was. The last one was hilarious. We have this long conversation. We were having a great old time. And he's telling me, I quit smoking. And I don't like to smoke anymore. It's just terrible. It's so hard to quit, but I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
We land, and he immediately walks right into a gift shop and buys cigarettes. And he goes, I changed my mind. I want to start smoking again. And he's lighting before he gets out the door. I mean, he's so impulsive. He's like lighting as he's walking towards the door. I'm like, whoa, like, Norm, what are you doing? He goes, I guess I smoke again. But that's, there's people out there that are like pretending to be wacky.
Right. He's really wacky.
I love those people. There's so few of them.
Who just themselves, like, no matter what.
Yeah, that's who Norm is. He's great. And he's so funny. I have a great story about Norm, me and him on a plane. And randomly, this is crazy, but true, randomly, twice I sat next to him on planes. Just randomly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, totally randomly. Like, what's up, Norm? What's up, Norm? Like, crazy, this is happening again. And both times it was a blast. But one time we're flying back, and he's like, I used to smoke, and I had to give it up. It's fucking terrible for you. But sometimes I miss it. But glad I quit. I'm like, how long has it been? He's telling me all these months. He stopped smoking, this and that. We're talking. As soon as we land, he walks right into the fucking store, buys a carton of cigarettes, and he's opening this cigarette. He's lighting it before he gets out the door. And I go, what are you doing? He goes, all that talk about smoking, I had to have one. And the flight from I forget where we even were, 2 times. Both times are just like the best flights, like just like having an audience of one next to one of the greatest comics ever and just be able to talk shit.
Yeah,
completely randomly, 2 times in my life I sat next to him on a plane. Just totally random.
Weird. In Vancouver, ran him at the airport.
Yep, once in Vancouver and once somewhere else. And the last one, he was talking about, I quit smoking. He was telling me how he quit smoking. It was hard. It was really hard to quit, and I did it. And, fucking smoking's terrible for you. So we land. He walks as fast as he can off the plane right into one of those stores and buys a pack of cigarettes. And he's opening up it, and he's got one in his mouth as he's out the door.
He went on for an hour about how it's terrible for you. He's so glad he's out over it.
So I'm outside with him. I go, what are you doing? I thought you quit smoking. He goes, yeah, but all that fucking talking about it, I wanted a cigarette.
So was he being funny, or was he just a weirdo?
No. He was just a genius.
Didn't drive, right? Didn't he not drive? Just invited people to go do tennis and stuff, so he'd be like, pick me up on the way.
His brain was just wired different.
Yeah.
It was just wired different all the time. But like he just decided, wow, let's smoke. And just, he couldn't light it quick enough on the way out the door. I randomly wound up sitting next to him on planes twice. On 2 different occasions, just like I go, Norm, like out of nowhere, and he's sitting next to me. And one time, we're sitting there, we're talking, and we're having a good old time. And then he's talking about, I quit smoking. He's telling me how he quit smoking and fucking, finally quit smoking. And he's telling me all these things. And then when he lands, he literally like he can't stop himself, runs into the airport store and buys cigarettes. And he's lighting it as he's leaving. I go, I thought you quit. He goes, I did. But all that talking about smoking makes me want one. And he's like, before he even got out the door, he's lighting the cigarette. He just couldn't stop himself.
But I like that he goes, all that talking. He's the one talking about it. All that talking. He always puts it on you. That's what's great about it.
But
he's like, this guy talks about smoking. He got me back smoking.
But it was so crazy because I was like, that's great, Norm. It's so great you quit. And he's like, fuck, I want a cigarette.
Take me on a journey. Take me far away from this life. I'd leave it in a hurry. Let's run away before morning.
Well, good to be here, eh? I quit smoking. You ever try to do that? Man, that's a tough thing, huh?
Do you think this to be a funny thing, or do you really have to kind of
I'm doing
feel
it. No, I feel that I have an oral fixation. You know about that.
Norm MacDonald is that's a great one right there.
Yeah, Norm was quite a guy. He was so unique. He was so peculiar too. Norm was very needy in a way, and I'm not speaking out of. I mean, everybody knew that he was needy. He always needed a handler.
Yes,
because he just I don't know if he didn't know how to do things or he just didn't feel like doing it. Like go on tour with him, he couldn't find his passport, he couldn't find his shoes, he couldn't find this and that.
Are you serious?
I call up Norm. I said, Norm, you want to go to Palm Springs with me? It's a 3-day Jim McClain course. Yeah. So I pick him up. He rides out there with his feet out the window all the way, listening to Johnny Cash. Remember that?
Yeah.
And we get out there, and the next morning I call him to wake him up to go. He's sound asleep. I got to call him like 3 times and knock on his door. And then he gets up and he goes, I can't find my shoes. He's like me with a little kid.
Sounds like every day getting him to this podcast.
He didn't drive. He didn't have no driver's license. You had to like point him in the right direction where to go. And this was without doing drugs or anything. And he loved to gamble. And again, I'm not speaking out of school on that one either. He loved to gamble. And I learned not to loan Norm money because he wouldn't pay it back. And we were in Vegas once, and he asked to borrow $500. So I gave him the $500, thinking he'd pay it back. And he went off to gamble. He came back the next morning. I saw him for breakfast. I said, Norm, you got the $500? How'd you do last night? He goes, oh, you'll get it. You'll get it. The next day, Norm, don't forget the $500. You'll get it. And then the third day, I go, Norm, you got the $500? You keep putting me off. But, I mean, this disrespectful not paying me back. He goes, what are you complaining about? You only lost $500. I lost $5,000. Good Lord.
I remember him when he hosted the ESPYs. That's where I met him.
Yeah.
When he hosted the ESPYs, and that was off the charts. I mean, his famous joke about the Heisman Trophy. You know,
what was it?
The joke was about the Heisman Trophy that
Charles Woodson.
Charles Woodson, right?
He's like, Charles Woodson is here.
And there's Charles Woodson. How about that? What a season he had. Great, man. He became the first defensive player to win the Heisman Trophy. And congratulations, Charles. That is something that no one can ever take away from you. Unless you kill your wife and a waiter, in which case, all bets are off.
That must have been a great night.
Yeah.
People would say how brave and courageous Norm's comedy was, but I just call it poor judgment.
They asked me to host this thing for Norm MacDonald, and a bunch of people spoke. And everyone was saying really great stuff, and a lot of people were funny. But man, Kevin Nealon had the greatest line, because a lot of us were talking about how brave Norm was, and he really was. He was fearless as a comedian. Yeah. And then Kevin Nealon gets up and he says, he's saying very funny things, and he just says, a lot of people up here are talking about how Norm MacDonald was brave in his comedy. I think of it more as a lack of judgment.
Robert said they got banned from a Biloxi casino once.
Oh, because
and
of Norm?
I thought because Norm was counting cards or something. He said no, because he totally torched the room of all the whales. Like, he made fun of them in a way that was like he didn't read the room. And he absolutely did that poor judgment thing, and that's why they got banned from a Biloxi casino.
Even on his memorial, 10 people walked out. You ever follow him on Twitter, his golf commentary?
Oh, my God.
It was so great.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, he did it just like an announcer.
It was just great. Norm.
Tiger dancing on the green with...
He was just the all-time best, man. No question about it. I do remember him jumping out of like a stage door at Radio City Music Hall when, we were all getting ready for the night, and he was asking about a score of a game. Like, he just thought like I would be like his own personal sports phone. Like, hey, who's winning that game?
And come to think of it, I got addicted to you. Oh, no, no, no. And come to think of it, I need somebody like you. Oh, no, no, no. I need someone like you.
Version of Canada, but one of your other counterparts who's Canadian that you didn't mention there, Norm MacDonald, I can't see Norm having the same kind of sentimental attachment to Canada, or did that come up?
No, I don't hear him talking that much about Canada. I don't know if he remembers that he's from Canada.
He does occasionally. He seems very proud. He and I correspond sometimes, and I think it's mostly, I'm a fan of his and he knows it, but I think it's because I'm Canadian as well. I think he's got pride for it, but I mean, he's an enigma to so many of us. You've been on his show. I haven't gone through the entire archive. Have you gone hiking with Norm yet?
Well, funny you should ask. You're right. Norm is an enigma, and he is a friend, and I do like him. And we've toured together before. But, we were out in the Grand Cayman Islands about 2 months ago doing the Kaboo Festival out there. And I said, Norm, why don't we do a hike? Because I've been trying to get him, and he's been saying, yeah, do one. And so he says, yeah, let's do one. I said, we'll do it on the beach. So we're all set to do it, and I go... I do the intro on the beach, before he gets there, and the outro and all that stuff. And then I go take him out to lunch, and then we finish lunch. He goes, oh, I got to get my hat. And he goes back to his room, and I'm waiting for him at the elevator, and he texts me saying, I'm watching the golf tournament right now. Tiger's playing. And I said, okay. And then 10 minutes later, he texts me. He goes, I can't go. I got diarrhea from that sandwich you bought me. So I never got the hike with him.
Oh, man. I have a similar sort of story. I mentioned we exchanged messages, and I asked him to be on the show. I've asked him a few times, and he always says, certainly. He'll direct message me back, certainly. And I'll say, okay, when? Give me a day and time, and then nothing. And then he'll write me something about something else. He doesn't. This is a thing with Norm, right? He can't commit to meeting with people, it seems.
Yeah, maybe that's it. I don't really know, but he's a funny guy, of course. He's very entertaining, and you know, he is kind of quirky, and he's an enigma, and that's part of the thing that makes him so, I guess, endearing and interesting and, you know, entertaining.
I saw Matlock.
Only you would refer to Andy Griffith as Matlock.
Well, I you know, I don't want to get too arcane. Yeah, his real name's Andy Griffith, but now he calls himself Ben Matlock.
Where'd you bump into him at?
He was at the airport at the LAX.
You're kidding me. Now that would be a thrill for me.
Oh man, it was incredible because like I grew up watching the Andy Griffith Show, and then later when he changed his name to Ben Matlock.
Yeah.
So,
Norman, what do you got planned today? What are you going to do?
Well, I was going to tell you my Matlock story, but
no, go ahead. Sorry, I've got time. Go ahead, recount. I thought you had to go. Go ahead.
No, I remember I was telling you about how I met Andy Griffith.
Yes.
So he's reading this big book, you know.
Oh, right,
so
that's it.
I say I'll sidle up beside him and pretend to read a big book myself, you know, and then we'll get in a discussion, right? Because I didn't want to just bug him, you know.
That's how you meet people.
And I was hoping maybe he'd, by some crazy chance, maybe recognize me or something. So I stand beside him, and he's reading and everything like that, and I'm talking to him and everything. Anyways, turns out the guy's not Andy Griffith. Just an old man. So now I'm just talking to an old man who clearly is always like mistaken for Andy Griffith, but uses it, you know, because I'm like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and who would talk to an 85-year-old man? So this guy's just milking it, you know.
Oh, Norman, I love you. I'll talk at you down the road. The Dennis Miller Show.
You know, you're in the middle of your big promotional tour for Sports Show.
Yeah, I was on Letterman. Who's better than Letterman, right?
Nobody.
And, no, I didn't mean that.
No, I agree with you. Nobody
I didn't think I'm making a joke. But no, of course, we grew up on Letterman.
That's why we want to do this.
Yeah,
stuff,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
I don't want to do it, but...
Well, it's why we've agreed to do it.
Yeah, but what's awesome is you get to meet, like, guys, right? So I was on Letterman. I met Willie Nelson, is one of my heroes because I love country western music, and my buddy Billy Joe Shaver is buddies with Willie. So when I was at Letterman last week, I was like, I gotta go talk to Willie, you know. Yeah. So then the guy that's the segment producer is like, hey, Nora Jones is with him, you know. I don't know who that is. But you know how you get old legends to sing with some young person?
Yeah.
So I go, okay, whatever. So he goes, yeah, but she'll be there. Like, don't forget to say anything. I go, all right, don't worry. So I go down, and there's Willie Nelson. I'm like, oh my God, we're telling all these stories and everything. And then there's a lady standing beside him, yeah. So then he hits me like this, you know. I go, ah, and then I remember, I go, Nora Ephron. Oh. And then I go, Nora Jones. I said Nora Jones after, but I said Nora Ephron because here's the thing. When you say Nora fast, it's hard not to say Ephron right after.
It's one of the hardest things you could ever do in your life.
You like Rickles, right?
I love Rickles, yeah.
I did a movie with Rickles, right?
Uh-huh.
So it's so awesome.
Dirty Work, right?
Dirty Work, yeah. So it's so awesome. So awesome, and so he couldn't remember now. He couldn't remember any lines, you know. So I'd go like I write something that I thought sounded like Rickles. Like I go, hey, say Don, say this to Artie Lang. You know, say Baskin Robbins called me today, and they're down to 3 flavors. You know? So then he goes, look at you. He goes, Baskins and Johnson called me today. He goes, and you know what they told me? They told me. You ate all their ice cream. All their ice cream. Tubs and tubs of ice cream. And now, they don't. It's like 45 minutes. But this is the funniest, man.
You don't give Don Rickles lines.
I'll tell you, man.
You let him come up with his own.
You gotta let him go.
Yeah, that's right.
But Rickles, man, he's the real deal.
He's the best. Yeah.
He's the funniest guy. And so that week, Sinatra was on his deathbed.
Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra, Rickles', close friend,
sure.
you know. So at lunch, I was like, people were like, should we mention Sinatra? I don't think we should mention him, bum him out, you know. So, but then I said, I don't want to ask him, you know. So I said, hey, Frank, hey, Don, have you talked to Frank lately, you know? And he goes, yeah, I saw him last week. There was a lot of this. Guy died 4 days later. I said, oh. And he goes, yeah. He goes, it's a lot of me with my head 2 inches from Frank's face going, I'm not Barbara.
Well, Frank wouldn't have wanted it any other way. I have a feeling.
That's right. One more thing about your my impression of you that I just recalled.
What?
I had a chance to meet Johnny Carson because of that impression.
Sudden thought, when did sugar diabetes become plain old diabetes?
How so?
Because Johnny Carson phoned me and he said he loves Larry King and every day he reads the News and Views, which was the impression I did was your News and Views in USA Today. So I had a chance to meet Johnny Carson, which I didn't take.
Why?
He would tell me stories, he could tell me stories about everybody, that existed ever in life in show business. And then I'd have to go, did you ever meet Chris Kattan? I wouldn't have anything to give back.
But he wanted to meet Norm. You missed the.
I should have done it.
You're weird, Norm.
I met guys though. I did an impression of you on Saturday Night Live. Your King's Things, bulletin points, and so I did a parody of that on SNL, and I only had to slightly magnify it.
This is News and Views. Here's my 2 cents, gang. If you only see one film the rest of your life, it should be Mickey Blue Eyes.
I get a call from Johnny Carson, and he wants to meet with me at his office. So I go to his office, it's just me and him. And he pulls out a whole bunch of USA Today's clips, of your column. And he starts reading them. He goes, here, you take some, I'll take some, we'll read them.
Just in the office?
Yeah, just me and him in the office, both of us doing Larry King impressions.
You do a lot of work for charity, Norman, in the sense that you'll go on TV shows for charity. You did, didn't you do a Celebrity Millionaire or something like that? Yeah. And how did you do on that? Did you win money?
Yeah. I did. The celebrity, the charities did.
You're not the celebrity?
The charities did.
But you were the celebrity on Millionaire.
Yeah, do you remember leukemia?
Yeah.
My money that pushed it over doesn't exist anymore.
You got rid of it.
I got rid of it.
No, you went on Millionaire with Regis, right?
Yeah.
And Regis asked you questions.
Yeah.
And then you answered up to, do I have this right? $500,000 worth of questions. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, he won $500,000.
Brainiac.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I mean, you're pretty smart. 500,000 to get up to. That's pretty good.
Norm's a smart motherfucker.
But I'm not anywhere close to Brainiac.
Well, Brainiac, of course, was invented on Krypton. He's a supercomputer. But yeah. I don't say literally.
I was saying, you're comparing me. That's high praise. Because Brainiac, you could tell even from his head how smart he was.
And he had tubes coming out of his head.
I know, man.
Norm picked Paul Newman's charity because Norm wanted to meet Paul Newman.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
So you gave to his salad dressing empire kind of thing?
And also, it is a great
The hole in the wall.
The hole in the wall game.
How long ago was this? A couple of years ago?
Yeah.
So Paul Newman
26 years ago.
So did Paul Newman call you personally and say to you, hey?
No, he wrote a letter.
Did he?
Yeah.
Look at you. $500,000 contribution.
Yeah. And I could have gone to meet him, but then I was too afraid.
What do you mean you were afraid?
Well, and it seems like a good idea, but then when it comes down to it, it's just you and Paul Newman.
Yeah, you don't know what
in
to
a
say.
room. Yeah, and then you got no stories. Like, what am I going to say? Hey, man, one time Will Ferrell was.
Rob Schneider and Football Williams. I'm sure you love him.
Do you know him at all? Do you know anyone that I'm talking about? Do you know any entertainers I know?
That was a great story about you and Redford.
Yeah.
Listen, me and Artie Lang.
In other words.
So that was Robert Shaw, huh? Hey, fucking Bud Friedman's backstage with me. This guy's a character.
What you're saying is Paul Newman wrote you a letter and said, why don't you come out to my Paul Newman ranch and hang out with me?
Yeah.
So I can
plus,
get to know
I
you.
kind of got the assumption that it would not be just me and Paul Newman. I suddenly had a fucking vision that it might be me, Paul Newman, and very sick children.
Oh, God.
So then it didn't become as appealing.
Well, you know what? Gary actually went to Paul Newman's house. Papa Booey went to Paul
He did?
Newman's. Yes. He was there for some charity event.
Oh, not to
I think
harass him.
it was a political thing.
A political thing. And Gary was in the barn. Paul Newman has a barn on his property.
Yeah.
And if he wants to meet with you, he meets with you in the barn where he has all his memorabilia from his. Well, now he's dead, but he had all his memorabilia in the barn.
Gary, go to the barn.
You walk around and it's almost like a Paul Newman museum. You see pictures, you see trophies, you see Academy Award, whatever, and then Paul Newman appears at the barn, and he speaks with you, and then he leaves. And that would have been it. I'm sure he wouldn't have.
Oh, that would have been it. Oh, that's his shtick he does. It's his meet and greet. It's like Artie backstage at an Indian casino. I was going to be Martin Short's friend for a while. We were in negotiations.
Yeah, how'd that break down?
I don't know. I met him. He was fucking funny, and he made me laugh, and he was laughing at me and shit. So I said, "Hey, we should be friends and stuff." And he said, "Yeah, well, let's be friends." You go to a cottage, and I was like, "Ah, fuck! I'd have to go to a cottage, you know." And then so it never caught on because the cottage was in my head and shit.
What do you mean?
Still, I would have liked, that guy would be cool to fucking hang out with.
What do you mean? That would be a good friend
for you. But then
for you.
going to a cottage, you understand?
I don't want to go to a cottage.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem.
All of a sudden, you're going on a cottage on a plane.
But that's the problem.
Maybe I should have done this.
No,
what?
That's the problem
What's
with you. So if someone suggests something right away, it's not
too guarded. I know what you're saying.
It's not cool enough for you. Where would you go with Martin Short?
I think
Martin Short says, "Let's go to a cottage."
No, I'm
and
not
hang
saying
out.
that. I'm saying I think you're right when I said I'm too guarded. Like I'm not willing to do things.
You don't want to be trapped in a cottage with Martin Short.
I love that part.
The idea of being friends with Martin Short is fun. The idea of being in a cottage with Martin Short and then having the pressure to talk and to interact with one another. I understand. I'm the same way. It wouldn't work out for you, and it wouldn't work out for me either.
But you go on that vacation.
But maybe in another lifetime.
Yeah.
When it comes to my sports. Who is your favorite?
My favorite sportscaster of all time?
Yep.
It would be a tie. It would be a tie between Marv Albert and Howard Cosell.
You did Harry Carey impersonation. Did you do Cosell? Did you ever do?
One time I met Cosell when I was a boy, and I was struck by his honest. Oh, here's a funny Cosell thing. I was watching Monday Night Baseball once. You probably remember when this happened. Dave Winfield hit the pigeon.
The seagull in Toronto.
Seagull.
Yeah.
Yeah, he killed the seagull in practice the day before. So then they used to have Monday Night Baseball, right, with Cosell and Keith Jackson and stuff.
Yeah.
And so Cosell would do those great cold openings, and he goes, they show like a picture of Winfield. He had killed the bird the day before. And then Cosell goes, that man, Dave Winfield, last night. What is that? He goes, last night, he was 2 for 3 with 4 hits, 3 RBIs, and 1 BIRD. Tonight, he proves that diamonds are not a gull's best friend. Tonight, he would always, right after his joke, yell tonight.
Once you get started with
this is my story about it. When I was in Toronto, I was a little young boy, and he was coming out of a hotel, and I was like, oh my God, it's Howard Cosell. So at Toronto at the time, it was mid-season, and Montreal and Toronto were both leading their leagues, which was very, very strange. And so we were all excited about Toronto. We said, and we were just kids, and nobody else was around. We said, Howard, how do you think Toronto is going to do this year? And he just walked by us, and he goes, frankly, I like Baltimore. Hey, Dan, I heard you old boys talking about Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd share a tale about him with you.
Okay.
I went to see him at here in Los Angeles because Merle Haggard was opening for him,
Okay.
And I'm just an old chunk of coal, and I like Merle, so I was there for Merle, but I stayed for Bob Dylan, and he was kind of it was like you were saying, you couldn't understand what songs he was singing. And but anyways, halfway through the concert, all of a sudden, because he doesn't talk to the audience or something, all of a sudden he started talking to the audience. And he said, Ringo, 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 about 45 times. So everyone was sort of in shock. And finally, a light went into the audience, and it was Ringo Starr was sitting there with some lady. And then he's all uncomfortable. He's like, Ringo. So he said it about 12 more times.
Did you meet him?
Bob Dylan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I met him. What happened was, I was going to finish my Ringo story.
Oh, I'm sorry, Norm. I'm sorry. Ringo.
Ringo. So anyways, he said, Ringo, like a whole bunch of times. And then he said, any songs you want to hear, Ringo? And then Ringo Starr said, I don't know, do you know any Bob Dylan songs?
Do I?
For this story?
Yeah.
Yeah, so name one.
Tangled Up in Blue.
Yeah, so he said, Ringo goes, well, how about Tangled Up in Blue? He goes, I already did that one.
He just didn't understand that he was doing Tangled Up in Blue.
No one understood anything. But, yeah, I did meet him, but I don't know him because I'm into country. I'm into outlaw country. So I was there for Merle.
Yeah, I like Merle.
You like Merle?
Yeah. Yeah, I like Waylon.
Oh, God, you like all the guys I like. My best friend is Billy Joe Shaver. He wrote Honky Tonk Heroes for all those boys. And, Waylon, Willie.
And the boys.
All those boys. There's some new guys on the horizon. There's Hank the Third. But most of this country has turned into stuff Michael Sam would listen to.
Well, careful here.
What? No, I mean, I enjoy seeing a guy kissing another guy, as much as the next feller. But I'm just glad he wasn't picked in the first round.
You're not sure what would happen?
Well, it may have been full-on insertion.
Judge Lance Ito this week barred all potential jurors from reading Faye Resnick's controversial new book, Nicole Brown Simpson, Diary of a Life Interrupted. The judge also barred them from reading Faye Resnick's other new book entitled Judge Lance Ito is a Big Fruit. And now it's time for Weekend Update's movie reviews. This week I saw Interview with the Vampire. And here's my review. Not gay enough. This week, a court banned gays from marching in Boston's St. Patrick's Day parade, but they will still allow them to be beaten up by drunken Irish guys. I'm afraid to know what you're applauding at there. Okay. Meanwhile, Elton John continues to deny rumors that he is engaged to his tennis racket. Well, if I can be allowed a personal opinion, I think Harrison Ford's new mustache works. And by works, I mean looks really gay. In overseas news, an attempt to lift the ban on gays serving in the British Armed Forces has been defeated in Parliament. This raises a difficult legal question. How do you exactly tell if a British guy is gay? In an interview in this month's Vanity Fair, actor Tom Cruise attempts to end once and for all rumors that he is gay. Meanwhile, the U.S. Army is dealing with a scandal of its own as dozens of female recruits have charged drill instructors with sexual harassment, intimidation, and even sexual assault. Analysts are calling it the best argument yet for gays in the military. Jonathan Schmitz, the Jenny Jones guest who killed his secret gay admirer because of his fear and hatred of homosexuality, has been sentenced to 25 years in prison. Well, I guess that plan backfired, huh? And it's been reported that Keanu Reeves is engaged to actress Amanda Decadina. Asked to comment, Keanu said, "What? I thought I was gay. I'd always heard I was gay.
Beginning in March, DC Comics will change Superman's traditional red and blue costume to a new form-fitting bodysuit. The problem with the old costume? Not gay enough. What the hell's going on in the country? That's not Superman. All right. TriStar's Picture is planning a film about the 70s disco act, The Village People. While the movie will be coming out next summer, it plans to wait until Thanksgiving to come out to its parents. The artist formerly known as Prince says he now wants to be known as simply the artist. Meanwhile, I will continue to refer to him as simply the fruit. In other music news, several major acts are on tour this month, including the Counting Crows, Metallica, and the Fruit. A study on weight loss revealed this week that women who participate in a weekly diet program lost 50% more weight, snacked less, and bought more fruits and vegetables than women in general, which just goes to prove my new theory: Richard Simmons is gay. Our top story tonight. This week, after months of speculation, sitcom star Ellen DeGeneres finally admitted that, yes, she is gay. Inspired by her courage, today, diet guru Richard Simmons admitted that he is really, 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 really gay.
But here's the problem with taking pictures. Yeah. Photographers are largely flamboyantly gay.
Right.
And so then when they take, a good look for them is a flamboyantly gay look.
Right.
So when they take their picture, your picture, you know, they want you to look flamboyantly gay, and then you're like, can I look a little less flamboyantly gay? And they're like, no, this is good. I'm like, I'm wearing a dress.
Well, again, it's tonight and tomorrow night. The Comedy Works in Larimer Square. Thanks so much for toughing it out
man.
without coffee. It's great
this
to
was
meet
fun.
you.
Thanks
Thank
a lot.
All right, on over.
Excellent suit.
Thank you. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
I like that one.
brand new. Oh my. Let's get back over to Angie and Chris, please.
Wait a minute. Norm, what is wrong, Norm, with flamboyantly gay?
Yeah.
I ask you.
I ask you, Norm.
Ooh, hit a little close to home this morning, didn't it?
Did you see this outfit? Did you see this thing?
This is what you should have worn for the headshot, Norm. Come on. Panache.
It is cool.
Huh? Come on.
You wore that between what he's wearing now and ending up in the dress. That was halfway.
It is cool.
Norm could have worn this.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Hey, Johnny Weir called. He wants his outfit back.
Oh, hey now. He's talking to you, too, not me.
I don't know who he's talking to.
I don't know. Maybe he's talking to me. Because Johnny Weir would look fabulous in this.
Look good in either one of these outfits.
Yes.
Well, I guess the biggest thing that nobody knows about me is I'm a deeply closeted gay man.
What? I mean, that's, you're a gay man?
I'm not gay. I said I'm deeply closeted. I'm as straight as an arrow.
What's something people don't know about you?
I'm a deeply closeted gay guy.
No kidding.
Well, I'm not coming out, though.
Wait a minute. What are you revealing here today?
I'm not revealing anything. I'm saying I'm deeply closeted.
Well, that means you're gay.
Well, I wouldn't say that. Why would I say that? I'm deeply closeted.
So you're a gay man who won't admit it?
No. Do you know what deeply closeted means?
Yeah.
It means a man who will not acknowledge that he's gay.
Yes.
So I'm telling you, I'm not gay.
No, but that means you're very, very gay, but you don't want to come out. You're so closeted.
That I refuse to say I'm gay.
Right.
Exactly.
But doesn't that mean you're gay?
Hey, easy, buddy.
Oh, this book will reveal much.
You know, on your last show, I came out as a deeply closeted gay man.
Yeah.
And I'm not gay. But David, on one time, and this is a true story, and Dave, you'll attest to this, bought me a beautiful leather jacket.
Oh, that's right.
Well out of my price range. Now, I'm no one to take charity.
I am not one to take charity.
I'm saying I sucked him off.
Surprise ending.
You're making me out to be Hal Holbrook over here.
Judge Lance Ito this week barred all potential jurors from reading Faye Resnick's controversial new book, Nicole Brown Simpson, Diary of a Life Interrupted. The judge also barred them from reading Faye Resnick's other new book entitled Judge Lance Ito is a Big Fruit. And now it's time for Weekend Update's movie reviews. This week I saw Interview with the Vampire. And here's my review. Not gay enough. This week, a court banned gays from marching in Boston's St. Patrick's Day parade, but they will still allow them to be beaten up by drunken Irish guys. I'm afraid to know what you're applauding at there. Okay. Meanwhile, Elton John continues to deny rumors that he is engaged to his tennis racket. Well, if I can be allowed a personal opinion, you know, I think Harrison Ford's new mustache works. And by works, I mean looks really gay. In overseas news, an attempt to lift the ban on gays serving in the British Armed Forces has been defeated in Parliament. This raises a difficult legal question. How do you exactly tell if a British guy is gay? In an interview in this month's Vanity Fair, actor Tom Cruise attempts to end once and for all rumors that he is gay. Meanwhile, the U.S. Army is dealing with a scandal of its own as dozens of female recruits have charged drill instructors with sexual harassment, intimidation, and even sexual assault. Analysts are calling it the best argument yet for gays in the military. Jonathan Schmitz, the Jenny Jones guest who killed his secret gay admirer because of his fear and hatred of homosexuality, has been sentenced to 25 years in prison. Well, I guess that plan backfired, huh? And it's been reported that Keanu Reeves is engaged to actress Amanda Decadina. Asked to comment, Keanu said, "What? I thought I was gay. I'd always heard I was gay. Beginning in March, DC Comics will change Superman's traditional red and blue costume to a new form-fitting bodysuit. The problem with the old costume? Not gay enough. What the hell's going on in the country? That's not Superman. All right. TriStar's Picture is planning a film about the 70s disco act, The Village People. While the movie will be coming out next summer, it plans to wait until Thanksgiving to come out to its parents. The artist formerly known as Prince says he now wants to be known as simply the artist. Meanwhile, I will continue to refer to him as simply the fruit. In other music news, several major acts are on tour this month, including the Counting Crows, Metallica, and the Fruit. A study on weight loss revealed this week that women who participate in a weekly diet program lost 50% more weight, snacked less, and bought more fruits and vegetables than women in general, which just goes to prove my new theory. Richard Simmons is gay. Our top story tonight. This week, after months of speculation, sitcom star Ellen DeGeneres finally admitted that yes, she is gay. Inspired by her courage, today, diet guru Richard Simmons admitted that he is really, 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 really gay. Here's the problem with taking pictures.
Yeah.
Photographers are largely flamboyantly gay.
Right.
And so then when they take, a good look for them is a flamboyantly gay look.
Right.
So when they take your picture, you know, they want you to look flamboyantly gay, and then you're like, can I look a little less flamboyantly gay? And they're like, no, this is good. I'm like, I'm wearing a dress.
Well, again, it's tonight and tomorrow night. The Comedy Works in Larimer Square. Thanks so much for toughing it out
man.
without coffee.
This
It's great to
was
meet
fun.
you.
Thanks
Thank
a
you,
lot.
Norm. All right, on over.
Excellent suit.
Thank you. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
I like that one.
brand new. Oh my. Let's get back over to Angie and Chris, please.
Wait a minute. Norm, what is wrong, Norm, with flamboyantly gay?
Yeah.
I ask you.
I ask you, Norm.
Hit a little close to home this morning, didn't it?
Did you see this outfit? Did you see this thing?
This is what you should have worn for the headshot, Norm. Come on. Panache.
It is cool.
Huh? Come on.
You wore that between what he's wearing now and ending up in the dress. That was halfway.
It is cool.
Norm could have worn this.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Hey, Johnny Weir called. He wants his outfit back.
Oh, hey now. He's talking to you, too, not me.
I don't know who he's talking
I don't
to.
know. Maybe he is talking to me. Because Johnny Weir would look fabulous in this.
Look good in either one of these outfits.
Yeah, see.
Well, I guess the biggest thing that nobody knows about me is I'm a deeply closeted gay man.
What? I mean, that's, you're a gay man?
I'm not gay. I said I'm deeply closeted. I'm as straight as an arrow.
What's something people don't know about you?
I'm a deeply closeted gay guy.
No kidding.
Well, I'm not coming out, though.
Wait a minute. What are you revealing here today?
I'm not revealing anything. I'm saying I'm deeply closeted.
Well, that means you're gay.
Well, I wouldn't say that. Why would I say that? I'm deeply closeted.
So you're a gay man who won't admit it?
No. Do you know what deeply closeted means?
Yeah.
It means a man who will not acknowledge that he's gay.
Yes.
So I'm telling you, I'm not gay.
No, but that means you're very, very gay, but you don't want to come out. You're so closeted.
That I refuse to say I'm gay.
Right.
Exactly.
But doesn't that mean you're gay?
Hey, easy, buddy.
Oh, this book will reveal much.
You know, on your last show, I came out as a deeply closeted gay man.
Yeah.
And I'm not gay. But David, on one time, this is a true story, and Dave, you'll attest to this, bought me a beautiful leather jacket.
Oh, that's right.
Well out of my price range. Now, I'm no one to take charity.
I am not one to take charity.
I'm saying I sucked him off.
Surprise ending.
You're making me out to be Hal Holbrook over here.
Norm was just making me laugh. He was telling me, he said something that's so true.
What did he say?
He just did stand up down in Florida.
Right.
Like in Florida is such a different world with people. Like there's a lot of creepy people in Florida, like swingers, you know.
Right.
And he,
what?
like when after you do a stand-up gig, people from the audience will come up to you, like an overly tan, like guy with a bunch of jewelry on, and they'll say, "Hey man, I come back to my apartment.
Is Artie telling my story?
Yes, he is.
Dad, you want to tell it? You tell it.
Yeah, why don't you let
They go, hey,
Norm's here, but
hey,
Norm
fucking
can't
bring 3
speak.
stories, and then Artie will tell one. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's pretty
How
good.
the fuck did that work
Yeah,
out?
why do we need you?
What
Just
the
tell your
fuck?
stories to
Norm,
Artie.
what happened in Florida? Why is doing
That
stand-up?
was-
Why
No.
Yeah, that wasn't a story I brought. I was just telling him.
Why is doing stand-up in Florida? What is Artie talking about?
No, because in Florida, where I just was, they have people that, I don't know what the fuck they do, but everybody got money. I guess, like, they had Coke for years, like, thousands of pounds of Coke, and I don't know if guys still do it, or I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah, there is a lot of coke there, but you're right. People
Not
are
for
rich.
you,
And,
though.
people are rich, and you don't know why. Like they're just in your face with
So
money.
a guy picks me up. He's the limo driver, and he's like, fucking guy goes, yeah. He goes, I can take you any place, man. Anything you want. I go, what? He goes, anything you want. He goes, I got my wife. I go, your wife? Like, I thought he was talking about like drugs or something. He starts with his wife.
He could take you to his wife.
He's got his wife.
Says I can get anything I want, and then he goes, my wife.
Don't you want his wife?
Was he offering you his wife?
I don't fucking know. But it wasn't. It was all weekend long. I just meet 4 or 5 guys, and they go, hey, so this is the wife, and this is the other wife, and how about the 8 of us?
Oh, yeah?
Well, they wouldn't say it right out, but you kind of go, oh, what are you talking about? Why are
These
there
guys
so
are
many
trying
people?
to deal you their wives?
No, they all
and
want to
parties?
swing.
No, you
They
don't know
wanna,
what the
swing.
fuck. You don't really know what the fuck's going on. 'Cause
How
they don't
come-
come
why-
right out and say they want to fuck you.
Why does everyone want to swing with you, do you think? I mean,
Not
are
me,
you so-
anyone.
No,
anyone.
they ask. I've gone deeper into the conversation than Norm did with these
Yeah.
people because it's fascinating, and I wanted drugs. But
it
no, they'll
involves
tell
drugs
you.
like crazy.
They'll tell you eventually. Like, look, there's me, and this is my wife, and this is her friend Nancy, and this is my friend Ed. You know,
Yeah.
and we'll get some
Ed's
ecstasy.
where it becomes problematic.
Nancy was fine.
Yeah,
Ed's a
everything's
problem.
going good. All of a sudden, Ed, what the fuck?
And Nancy's usually 46.
Who the
and
fuck
she's had
is
work
Earl?
done.
Who the fuck was this guy? Nobody told me about a guy coming out of a closet whacking off with his half-hard cock. Where the fuck did he come from?
Right, they say, well, I'll
Things were
go to-
going really well in the fantasy. You, Nancy, and Shirley, and suddenly Earl walks in.
Yeah, what the fuck? You never told me. And then
in
they're like,
your
well,
ass.
if we brought it up, we thought you'd say no. Of course I'd fucking say no.
Earl was an afterthought.
There's always a hot tub and ecstasy and pills, and they go,
You know
come
what?
back and we'll all fuck.
You know,
And you're like, I
lived-
don't want to fuck
like,
anybody.
Like I lived in you live in a hot climate. You live in a hot climate. There's
Yes.
not a whole lot to do. You rely on other people, and it becomes like an orgy state. I think
that
that's
what
what
it
happened.
becomes?
I think like I lived in Detroit for a while, and there wasn't a lot going
That's
on.
different.
And people just sort
Detroit?
of yeah. When I lived in Detroit, people would just sort of congregate together because there wasn't a lot of outside stimulation. You relied on others.
Right, Detroit was mostly rape.
No, not you're talking about the suburbs. I'm talking about in the suburbs of Detroit. You know,
okay.
Detroit itself is a horror scene, but people would begin to rely on each other for entertainment. I think that's what happens, and then there's this weird,
creepy, right?
creepy thing that happens where people just start having
the
sex with
celebrity's
each other.
coming to town, and we kind of know he wants to party, and he can fuck my wife and her friend, and I'll fuck him.
There's a lot. That's kind of unsaid.
Yeah.
You know, the part
well,
about
who's
where a
taking-
guy's fucking me.
Who's taking them up on these offers? They
At
must
the end
be
of the
working.
night,
Lot of comics.
Pauly
I
Shore.
guess the idea is
Doug Stanhope.
Doug Stanhope. So anyways, I go, no, I go, listen, basically, I'm not a fancy guy. Fred, you know that.
Really? I always thought of you as a fancy
My
guy.
thing is, like, for a sexual encounter or something, I like to lie on top of a lady. I don't need a lot of fucking shit going on.
One girl will do it.
Yeah.
Are you currently
That's exciting enough for you.
Are you
That's
currently
good,
in a
man.
relationship, or are you playing the field?
Oh my God.
What the fuck? What are you,
Are
retarded?
you really having a relationship? Come on.
Come on, man. Seriously, what the fuck? Listen. It's stunning how Jay Leno outfoxed you again.
Yeah, he's good.
I know. You think, like, everybody's like, oh, I'm Jay Leno. They do the voice and everything. Meanwhile, he's the shrewdest guy. He outfoxed. You're in good company. He outfoxed Johnny Carson, David Letterman. Every 10 years, some redheaded rube shows up. So that's the phone call you got.
Yeah.
Your agent's like, there's good news and bad news. You are doing the Tonight Show. It's true. Mm-hmm. But remember that discussion where you said, I'll never have to follow Leno again?
You came over, didn't you? A little fighting, a little fornicating. What's he, an old pirate all of a sudden? Ah.
You notice how I didn't say it's 11.
Hey!
No, because it's 11:30.
It's that Tonight Show now, buddy boy.
That's what I'm trying to point out. It's 11:30.
Thanks for pointing that out.
Hey.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you got more.
Hey, Yoko Ono is not mad about you this week.
Mad about you? Okay, that I remember.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. She'll be playing a conniving bitch who broke up the Beatles.
All right, hey.
Is she that beloved? It's interesting what you say when you go, like, America's the greatest country in the world or something, because, like, imagine, like, you're just saying that on account of you live there, because let's say you hear a guy who goes, hey, man, Kenya, that's the greatest country in the world. You better believe that.
Hey.
No.
Okay, so, here's a windmill.
Wait, you're not
Norm! Your two officers who are attacking fly away.
I love you. Let's bump the pit bulls.
Not salad tossing.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm going to return to my former sexual lifestyle.
Well, yeah, what's that?
It's trying to find a lady and convincing her to let me lie down on top of her.
That sounds so romantic, the way you describe it. I want to lie down on top of you and take a nap? What do you... Doesn't sound like...
I'm just saying I'm very simple. I don't need no, I don't need no where they whip your balls or anything.
Okay.
I'll tell you this.
What's that, Norm?
My doctor told me I'm on the same dose that they give to the donkey for the second show in Tijuana.
Okay, now listen.
For the second show, you know?
Why do I continue to have you on? And yet I love it.
No, the second show.
You've already started the wrong end. Look, that's the bit there.
All right. Well,
So just top and tail it like that. Look, come on, wake up, stand there.
I'm up to 4 segments. Why, you didn't tell me a number of segments?
No.
He wants the edges off, I think. Hey!
Turn it around. Okay.
What?
Come on, no. You're gonna be tight.
He does it and then goes, look what Norm did.
We got to be nice and tight.
This is not going to air. This will never be seen by anybody. This will never be seen by anybody.
Just concentrate.
We've learned.
Norm, you're making me feel dizzy standing there looking busy. Right, here we go. Okay, come on.
I'll tell you one thing, man. I'm not eating this.
We're even having a cooking segment at this point. Why would there even be a cooking segment? We don't even have a cooking segment with you people. Here we go.
When did you hit bottom? I said, I don't know. The cool part of it was the girls all get up, right? And all their stories are all the same. Whenever they hit bottom, every story is the same. They're like, when I hit bottom, I a guy for a drink, and you're like, oh. Every guy.
Couldn't we just take them out of the studio for the Norm part and then bring...
Forget about that. I got to do brothers And sisters, I have none. But this man's father, he is my father's son. She goes, oh, I don't know. Who is it? Some cab driver back in New York.
I've been searching for what's missing, but the answer remains.
True, man. One time my buddy was with a hooker, he was telling me.
Wait a minute, you have a hooker story?
Yeah.
Here we go.
And he said that he phoned me up once. He was in Vegas, and he's like, "Hey, man, I'm with this hooker, but I think she ripped me off, man, because she took the money, right? Oh no, yeah. She said something about like I'm gonna go into the bathroom to get a towel to wipe off your balls or something." Some of my strongest material comes from real life.
Real life?
Like, for instance, today I was driving in a car.
Mm-hmm.
You were kind enough to bring a car to bring this old chunk of coal here to the studio.
We send cars for our guests, yes.
Yeah, so I got in it, and I get material that way. So my driver.
What do you mean? How do you get material that way? You get in the car, and what happens?
My driver tells me a joke.
Guy goes into a dentist's office. Yeah. Dentist said, "What are you doing here?" He said, "I think I'm a moth."
A moth?
A moth. He said, "What?" "I think I'm a moth." He said, "Well, you have mental problems. You need to go see a psychiatrist." He said, "I know." He said, "You're in a dentist's office." He said, "I know." He said, "What are you doing here? Why did you come here?" He said, "The light was on."
That's a good joke.
It's a great one.
And you're going to tell it now on the show.
Yeah, that's how I get a lot of my material.
Okay. Why don't we just have him on next time?
That guy. No, wait till you hear me do it. So the guy, he goes, I say, I'll be the guy.
Okay.
A moth goes into a podiatrist's office.
A moth goes into a podiatrist's office, all right.
You are correct. When I came to Hollywood, Andy was a good friend to me.
Oh, he was nice to you when you first came
He was
here?
absolutely. We had nothing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We were just starting out. I was working at Artie's Deli coffee shop. Bussing tables, you know, and stuff like that. And he was always there to help me and stuff. He was the first guy I actually met. He had some pilot on the TV and stuff, and he was really so sweet to me, you know. And he said, "I want to invite you over to a Hollywood party." No, I was just a farm boy from Canada, you know.
Sure, yeah.
Canada, yeah. And big nation up to the north.
Sure, yes, powerful nation. Lovely people.
So I said, wow, here's my, Andy Richter's going to show me, I'm going to go to a Hollywood party. How exciting, you know? So he said, it's going to be a pretty wild party. You know, I'm not used to wild parties. I said, what is a wild party there? You know, I don't get out much. He says, he's like a little drinking, a little fighting, a little fornicating, you know? Yeah. I said, wow, man, that sounds pretty good. I said, what time should I show up? He goes, anytime, it's just the two of us.
He said, "Welcome to the neighborhood. I know it's not exactly a neighborhood. I live 40 miles from here. But if you're interested, tomorrow night I'm throwing a welcome to the neighborhood bash. There's going to be a lot of barbecue, some drinking, some dancing, and some wild sex. Would you like to come?" And Morty said, "Sure, but what should I wear?" The cowboy said, "It doesn't make any difference. It's just going to be the two of us."
One more thing about my impression of you that I just recalled.
What?
I had a chance to meet Johnny Carson because of that impression. Sudden thought, when did sugar diabetes become plain old diabetes?
How so?
Because Johnny Carson phoned me and he said he loves Larry King and every day he reads the News and Views, which was the impression I did was your News and Views in USA Today. So I had a chance to meet Johnny Carson, which I didn't take.
Why?
He would tell me stories. You know, he could tell me stories about everybody, you know, that existed ever in life in show business. And then I'd have to go, did you ever meet Chris Kattan? You know, I wouldn't have anything to give back.
But he wanted to meet Norm. You missed it.
I should have done it.
You're weird, Norm.
I met guys, though. I did an impression of you on Saturday Night Live, you know, your King's Things, bulletin points. And so I did a parody of that on SNL. And I only had to slightly magnify it. This is News and Views. Here's my 2 cents, gang. If you only see one film the rest of your life, it should be Mickey Blue Eyes. I get a call from Johnny Carson, and he wants to meet with me at his office. So I go to his office, it's just me and him. And he pulls out a whole bunch of USA Today's clips, you know, of your column. And he starts reading them. He goes, here, you take some, I'll take some, we'll read them.
Just in the office?
Yeah, just me and him in the office, both of us doing Larry King impressions. Look at this man compared to Johnny Carson at the time. You know, look at Johnny Carson. Get a picture of him 7 years before he retired. Long, white hair, white beard.
He didn't have a white beard. Johnny always looked fantastic.
But would you like to hear my impression of Johnny Carson phoning 911 when he had his fatal heart attack?
I would.
Okay. Okay, you be the 911 operator.
Okay. What, I
Ding,
just say
ding.
hello? Hello, 911.
Yeah, hello?
Can I help you, sir?
Yes, this is Johnny Carson.
Johnny Carson from television?
Yes, that's right.
Oh, hello, Mr. Carson. Okay. What can I help you with?
I don't know. I feel like there's a yak on my chest.
You did have a lot of yak jokes, didn't you?
Well, have I ever done my Johnny Carson impression for you?
No, you haven't. And I'm sure this young audience would love to see it.
You can play along. You can be the 911 operator. This is Johnny Carson when he was having his heart attack. You be the 911 operator.
Yeah, okay.
Say hello. You know.
Hello.
Hello. This is Johnny Carson.
Oh, Mr. Carson, how can I help you?
I feel like there's a yak on my chest. Do you want to hear my impression of the
That's going to be you if you don't lose weight.
Do you want to hear my impression of the 9/11 call from Johnny Carson?
911 call.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. But 9/11 was a national tragedy.
Yes, it was.
Why do you laugh at that?
You said it.
Johnny Carson died
at
80 years old. Okay, Johnny Carson died at 80 years old. Would you like to hear my impression? Would you like to hear my impression of Johnny Carson? Johnny Carson's 911 call. Because he called while he was having a heart attack.
No.
Would you like to hear my impression? Okay, you be the 911 operator.
Hello, operator Mary.
Yes.
What is your 911 emergency?
I feel like there's a yak on my chest. Hi-oh. We would like to thank Andy Dick for being on the show, and to end the show, Andy Dick will be reading a joke, and then the show's over. Good night, everybody. Andy?
Purple socks.
Oh, can I do a Karnak?
I was trying to.
Can I do a Karnak?
Yeah.
Told me that we should go our separate ways, but now your life without.
That's what I was trying.
Now, do you know how to be Ed McMahon during this?
Well, you have to read.
Okay. Mount Baldy. Mount Baldy.
And you read.
No, then you have to say Mount Baldy. You know.
Mount Baldy. Mount Baldy.
Yeah, Mount Baldy. What did Yul Brenner's wife do on their wedding night? And in court this week, Cato Kalin testified that O.J. Simpson did not appear angry before or after the period of his wife's murder. But Kalin admitted he could have been a touch edgy while he was actually murdering her. Might have been a Labor Department study shows that the number of temporary workers rose to 2 million in 1994. And that study doesn't even include the most temporary of the temporarily unemployed, Kato Kalin. Yesterday on Rivera Live, Kato Kalin made the startling admission that he now thinks O.J. Simpson is guilty, although authorities suspect this may just be part of an attempt by Kato to crash at Fred Goldman's place for a while. As the jury's decision was announced, Nicole Brown's sister Denise Brown told reporters, quote, "I feel ecstatic," while Johnny Cochran said, quote, "I accept the verdict and now we must move on." Meanwhile, Kato Kalin said, quote, "Please, God, don't let it be over." Wednesday on CBS's This Morning program, correspondent Eleanor Mondale went toy shopping with Kato Kalin. According to producers, it was part of a new segment on the show called Let's Punish the Audience.
Hey, how about Norm's friend in the companion seat right now, Kato Kalin? Remember Kato? There he is. How long have you known Kato?
Kato, I know him about 15 years.
How did you meet Kato?
Well, he lives in his house.
Kato,
Norm actually
Kato.
crashes on my couch.
Yeah. Kato, you got to get your own place.
Got it, Alan. Got it.
How did you meet Norm?
Actually, through sports many years ago.
Up in Canada?
Tennis and golf.
Didn't know you
I've
played.
been around for a while there, Regis. Yeah.
Didn't know you played tennis and golf.
Oh, yeah,
so-
yeah.
Good.
As a matter of fact, my charity today is the Palm Beach Tennis and Golf Resort.
Oh, actually, Norm's kidding. It's the Hole in the Wall gang, right?
Yeah, it's the Hole in the Wall gang camp that Paul Newman started, and it's real good for kids to go to that camp that are sick, you know.
That's nice. That's good.
Make a lot of money.
Kato's very happy for you.
Kato's a good man.
Because Joy has her hand in my lap.
Joy has her hand in Kato's lap. All right. Dynamite so far. Kato's very proud of you.
He's a good man.
$300.
By the way, Kato and I, I like the ladies. You know what I'm saying?
You and Kato like to...
He's just a guy I know. That's all I'm trying to say.
We all have our own thoughts about that.
I can't believe you were bullied by Norm MacDonald.
Why don't you believe that?
Because Norm is just like the unicorn. Like nobody really has conversations with Norm, let alone.
He would kind of, well, he would.
I'm going to kick your ass, Fred.
No, not threaten to beat me
Me and
up.
Billy Joe Shaver.
not threaten to beat me up, but just kind of like
teasing you a lot.
I know you're at the end, but him and Kato were friends, and they would just be
him
assholes.
and who?
Kato Kalin, the biggest piece of shit.
So Kato
you didn't watch the
Kalin?
Hilardi thing. We talked about it.
No,
yeah.
I didn't. I fell asleep. It was on late. That's not because you were boring. I mean,
him and Norm were best friends. He was Norm's lifeline.
Hey, Kato Kalin.
They were friends.
So
and they would
Kato
play
Kalin
tennis.
would heckle you too?
Well, we one time me, Kato, and Norm played tennis, and I got a flat tire, and they were driving, laughing at me because I was on the side of the road. And Kato would kiss up to Norm,
but they didn't stop to help you with your.
No,
flat tire.
they stuck their heads out the window, and were laughing as they drove by.
What jerks!
Yeah,
You should go on Norm's podcast.
Well, I did.
Oh, you did already?
Yeah.
Oh.
And
well, you don't need my help at all, do you?
No. Yeah, and
was it fun? Did you bring up the fact that he bullied you?
Or
were you afraid because he was a bully?
I was a little afraid that I'd get busted, and about the book. But he goes, I don't care. Norm didn't care. Yeah, I go, I said, Norm, I have to be honest. You're in the book, and I said something. He goes, I don't care.
Sam, who was Norm's best friend the second season of the Norm Show?
Kato Kalin.
You're kidding.
I spent an entire year with Kato Kalin. I know stuff about Kato Kalin. Norm, Kato befriended Norm. I can't get into this whole thing. But, so we do, the Norm Show was 2 seasons, all right?
Right.
And we shoot the first season of the shit's picked up. In the meantime, Norm is living in L.A. So I get back to, you got to be back on the set like August 1st or something. So I start moving back out there like July 28th. And this girl, Lori Jo, who Sam's talking about, and maybe even Sam might have called me up and said, Norm wants, to play a big poker game tonight at Norm's, which we used to do all the time. Is come by. He goes, oh, wait, you're going to meet Norm's new best friend. I'm like, who's that? She goes, you'll see. I walk in, and it's Norm and these guys we used to play poker with, and Norm's crazy ex-assistant, this kid, Danny Wilson. And Kato Kalin. One of the main characters in the biggest trial of the century.
Well, Ralph is the Kato Kalin. I mean, Ralph.
It's amazing the parallel.
It's a type of guy. It's like
he's the poor man's Kato.
No, I mean, yeah.
Poor man, you're rich.
You got more money than OJ.
No, Ralph's the poor man's Kato Kalin.
But can I just say something about Ralph? There's such a level of entitlement. He always says, I don't feel entitled. But, like, he'll go to Sam's house, and you would think being in the guest house and having access to servants or whatever would be enough. He was out there one time, a couple times ago, and if I have the cars wrong, tell me, Sam, but I guess the Bentley was parked in front and the Mercedes was parked behind, and Sam left the keys to the Mercedes for Ralph so Ralph could go around and do what he wanted. And somehow Ralph talked the help into giving him the keys and moving it so he could drive the Bentley.
But you got it.
Like the Mercedes wasn't enough, the Bentley was what he needed to be.
These guys are great at doing it, and LA's filled with now. Well, Kato did that whole season, like, systematically. By week 15, Kato was on the show.
Yeah.
Kato got onto the Norm Show.
Kato was looking for a job out of it.
He had
he gets kind of passed around too because there was a writer producer Kevin Curran. I think he's on The Simpsons now.
Yeah.
He used to be on Married with Children, and the first time I met Kato was after the OJ trial, and he was hanging out with Kevin Curran.
But he was like in my life. Like, I would go to work, and Kato would be, whether he had to work or not, he was at rehearsal.
And what did Norm get out of it?
Well,
Like,
Norm just said, hey, look, he's a good guy. And, like, we would all go, like, I don't know what's... So Norm got so friendly with him that every once in a while we go to this tennis club by Warner Brothers.
All right.
And we play doubles tennis. And Norm and Kato always had to be a team. It became, like, the 4th fucking grade. So me and one of the other writers would always play Norm and Kato in tennis. And I would tell the writer, I said, listen, if we lose to these motherfuckers, I'm gonna tear Kato's head off. Because if they got a point, and Norm is so competitive, you want to strangle him.
Right.
If they got a point, man, Kato would go like, Howie. And you just feel like going, you murdering fuck, you killed a woman, you helped kill a woman. Like,
Kato didn't have anything to do with murdering a woman.
Well, I felt like saying that to him.
Oh.
But he would make you livid and red with anger, and like Norm and him were just the best of buddies for a year, like he had his...
And what happens that the relationship
They had
ends?
a falling out somehow.
Oh, really?
Of course.
The Norm Show got canceled. I came back here. I started here, and eventually I heard they had a falling out. But it's weird.
I think Kato was Norm's phone a friend on Celebrity Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Get out of here.
So when they were playing tennis together, they always had to be like a doubles partner?
Oh, my God, how
Like, it became like a
And
thing.
you could see how insidious it was. And me and this other kid, we'd play with, like, we used to beat him most of the time, thank God. But
Oh, my God, really?
Yeah, if we lost...
Well, he gets so... Norm is the most...
We got thrown out of the club. There was an incident with David Hyde Pierce. What?
David Hyde Pierce, what a group.
Next to the Warner Brothers lot, there's like this tennis club, and it's like an exclusive club, and it was like Caddyshack. Me and Norm would walk over in corduroys and just say, we want a court. And the guys there were like star fuckers. They give Norm a court. He had a show on ABC. So we walk on, and David Hyde Pierce would be there, and he had like an instructor.
He'd be in his tennis whites.
Tennis sweaters tied around his neck. And me and Norm, like, if I lost a point to Kato Kalin, I'd go, fuck, cunt, fuck, and I'd throw the racket, and David Hyde Pierce would get all scared.
What's this?
Yeah, like he was scared. Like Norm would like abuse him about maybe being gay, like all this shit.
My
like and finally Hyde Pierce complained and got us thrown out. We got walked out of the club. Me, Norm, Kato Kalin, and this writer, we got walked out of the club. David Hyde Pierce was looking at us like all red faced, like, yeah, get out of here.
Fuckers.
Yeah, fuckers. And but Kato and Ralph has a lot of those. Like when I'm hearing this, I saw it firsthand, and I'm saying, my God, he's doing the same exact thing.
Yeah, that's wild.
I want to address myself as best as I know how to those that I have wronged, that I have sinned against. I have sinned against you, my Lord, and I would ask that your precious blood would wash and cleanse every stain until it is in the seas of God's forgetfulness, never to be remembered against me.
Norm MacDonald is a comedian's comedian, a man who has earned both respect from his peers and laughs from the audience.
There are obviously a lot of entertaining celebrities, but Norm MacDonald used to come on our show in the early days, and those were, I thought, great television because we never knew it was happening, and it was always teetering on the edge of, it was all about to blow up. It's all about to fail, and it would always end brilliantly, and then he stopped coming around, and it was just a period that passed. And I was always sad about that because I thought, we're a very celebrity-conscious age, and people always think that the best guests are the biggest celebrities. Sometimes, the best guests are these people that you have a weird connection with, and it's compelling television. People see and they talk to me about it later on. Like, I'll be out in the world walking around, and people will say, I saw that when you were with Harlan, or when you were with Norm, or with Will Arnett. That really got wild and crazy in a way that they don't see on television.
But what's the movie going to be called? Really?
I know what it's going to be called.
Yeah, what's that?
If it's got Carrot Top in it, you know what a good name for it would be?
What's that, Norm?
Box Office Poison.
Smith, the girl sitting to your left, is in the movie.
I'm going to go see it for fun.
There's this movie coming out.
Yes.
Title undetermined at this point.
Chairman of the board.
Oh, all right. Do something with that, you freak.
I bet the board is spelled B-O-R-E-D.
You know who I learned a little bit about that was Norm. And of course, Norm's a little crazy, but Norm, a big host would come and we'd all get all hopped up, like, okay, Rosie's gonna bring in big ratings. Let's get our AP. Where's my goat? I'm gonna throw out a goat. And Norm would sit there in the pitch meeting. We'd all be dead serious. Will would throw out, I'm going to do a cheerleader.
Right.
This one and that. And Norm would be like, yeah, I got a sketch ready. You're going in your pants, And you're just walking around, and you're like, yeah, I'm the guy with the in my pants. I hate this guy. And you look at him like he was nuts, but he knew what he was doing.
Norm knew exactly. Listen, one of the single funniest things I've ever seen in my life is when he did Letterman, how quickly he would throw the sport coat off at the end of the sketch. Nothing made me laugh harder than Norm. Doing Letterman, and I said to him, what's with the sport? You know how Letterman, how ill at ease he is with show business. Yeah. Norm said, that's all I had at the beginning. The essence of it was his discomfort. I said, this guy's a freaking genius.
My apologies to Jenna Elfman. Good night, everybody.
He was a genius. He would warm up the crowd. Now, when I would warm up the crowd, I would warm it up like I was playing the garden, and I wanted to teach everyone a lesson. If I'm cut from tonight, I want you to know I should have been on.
That I was a badass.
Yeah, I'd warm up the crowd, kill. Norm would go up behind me, and he'd go, hey, Jim Brewer and these guys, he's got all these great impressions, So I said, oh, I better learn some impressions. So, are you guys all ready? This is my newest impression. These are a lot of. Because here's Ed Sullivan. And I'm like, he's really going to do Ed Sullivan? Like, why would you? He goes, Ed Sullivan introducing the Beatles. And he goes, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Beatles. Well, I got to work on that one a little bit. I see you during the show.
He's got a little Andy Kaufman in him, Norm. He likes to frustrate, titillate a little, but then periodically he'll say something like, I feel sorry for the homeless guy's dog, because the dog's thinking, this is the longest walk I've ever been on.
I give a guy some money out there, a homeless guy in the street, and this is a kind of odd thing. He had a dog with him. You ever see this? He's a homeless guy, but he's got a dog. Isn't that kind of odd there? Guy got no home, you know, but he's got a dog. And the dog's really thrilled with this idea, you know. Dog's going, hey, pal, I can do this by myself pretty well here, you know. The longest walk in the world you got me on here. What the hell? What the hell kind of a thing? What the deuce?
Norm's hosting a sports show now, Jimbo, on Comedy Central.
Oh, that's dangerous. You and I both know that can be very.
Yeah, but that is a panel I volunteer for because I want to be in the blast site of that when that goes off because that is going to be a hoot.
Top story tonight: the NBA is rescheduling Chicago's playoff games around Oprah Winfrey's farewell show. Apparently, the Bulls are taking orders from the cows. Even more surprising than this, Michael Jordan's Hitler mustache. Have you seen these underwear ads? We have some breaking news to report here. This, just off the wire, Reuters News is reporting now that the Mike Tyson app has just raped another app.
Well, you know what? I like Norm MacDonald. Let's give him the money for the week.
I didn't even know he had a podcast.
Oh yeah, dude, Norm MacDonald. Did you see him on Conan telling that moth joke?
No.
Yeah, you got to see it.
No, I haven't.
Dude, you know how many comics out there don't give a fuck, but kind of still do. You have to kind of still do to eat. That guy
Norm
truly
doesn't. He's so fucking funny.
One of my best opening monologue jokes ever. Did you ever see? Remember that whole thing when he was doing Weekend Update and they told him to make it funnier. So he didn't. He just was more Norm the next week. So eventually, of course, he gets fired. So then, he goes off into the Hollywood world. He's got a TV show or a hit movie or some shit. So now they bring him back to guest host on SNL. And I'm going to butcher this, but he kind of came out. He's like, yeah, so, people know I got fired from this show. So now they got me back hosting, which means either I got a lot funnier or this show sucks. That's what he opened up. What?
You're very kind. You know, in the, what's that? Oh, yeah, no. No, you're absolutely right. That is my name. You know, when the people here asked me to do the show, I got to say, I felt kind of weird, I don't know if you remember this, but I used to actually be on this show, I used to do the Weekend Update news routine. You remember that? And, yeah. That's where I did the make-believe news jokes, That was me, right? So then, a year and a half ago, right, I had a sort of a disagreement with the management at the NBC. I wanted to keep my job, right? And they felt the exact opposite. So you see, they fired me because they said that I wasn't funny, Now with most jobs, I could have had a hell of a lawsuit on my hands for that, but see, this is a comedy show. So they got me, you know what? But now, this is the weird part, right? It's only a year and a half later, and now they asked me to host the show. So I wondered, I go, hey, wait a second here. Hey! I go, how did I go in a year and a half from being not funny enough to be even allowed in the building to being so funny that I'm now hosting the show? How did I suddenly get so damn funny? It was inexplicable to me, because a year and a half, let's face it, is not enough time for a dude to learn how to be funny. Then it occurred to me, I haven't gotten funnier. The show has gotten really bad. So yeah, I'm funny compared to, well, you'll see later. But okay, so let's recap. The bad news is I'm still not funny. The good news is the show blows. All right, folks, we got a bad show for you tonight. Dr. Dre, Snoop Doggy Dogg, and Eminem are here. We'll be right back.
It goes, there's comics, and then there's comics. Is one of the rare comics, which means 6 people think he's funny. Norm MacDonald.